1-800-449-8255. The Clark the Shark Show. Oh, baby, are we going to talk about an album today? One of the, I don't know if it's one of the greatest rock albums ever recorded, but it definitely contains one of the greatest rock songs that was ever recorded. And it's such an interesting album. Of course, I'm talking about Bubble Puppy, 1969. And what an amazing feat this was. I mean, this is a very 1960s sounding album. It's from 69, but I get like a 1967, 68 vibe all the way from this incredible album. One of the greatest drummers in rock, David Four. David Fuzzy Four. And of course, Rod Prince, lead guitar vocals. Yeah, man. A four-piece band of mellow 60s psychedelia, but a bunch of their songs explode into a rage of heavy rock. Almost borders on, like, I don't know, man. Heavy metal? Maybe. Not quite. Hard rockin', melodic, atmospheric, 1960s, baby. This isn't the 70s. This is Bubble Puppy, 1969, A Gathering of Friends. One of my favorite albums. You know Clark the Shark loves him some Bubble Puppy. And of course, the first song off this thing, Hot Smoke and Sassafras, which I would hear on old KNAC down in my room in Redondo Beach, Torrance, 251 Paseo de Gracia. I would hear old KNAC before it went metal. It was called KNAC, and it went through a phase of being like DirecTV 8 tracks mixed with punk and all this stuff. You know, they would play Arthur Lee and Love and, you know, deep tracks from, you know, the Beach Boys killer 60s albums and, you know, The Who and just the Kinks and all kinds of shit, man. And of course, Hot Smoke and Sassafras. When we all heard this song with David Four's amazing Keith Moon style drumming and just the amazing guitar, everybody, man, everybody. Todd Potter, man, killer, dude, killer. Whew. It's like twin lead guitars in this band. Rod Prince is kind of a legend, you know, that we all know. But so is David Four, the drummer here. He is like Keith Moon, but for, you know, underground, Little Steven's underground garage. You know, David Four is, you know, if you go down in the underground garage with Little Steven, David Four and his magical drum set, he'll be your tour guide for sure. Just the greatest, most powerful, kick-ass snare drum with the bass drum. And he reminds me of Bobby Elliott from, you know, the Hollies. Certainly Keith Moon. David Fuzzy Four. One of the greatest drummers ever in rock and roll. And side one's amazing. Todd's tune. You know, you hear the Grateful Dead and Steve Miller and the killer harmonies. It explodes into high energy. Killer song, man. Lots of 60s influences, there's no doubt. You know, the first track, which is so heavy and amazing, Hot Smoke and Sassafras, is nothing like the rest of this album. The rest of this album, it's like the Youngbloods and the Sunshine Company, but heavier and prog and killer. And of course, I've Got to Reach You. Track number 3 is, you know, it's progressive. It's almost like a Captain Beyond intro, man. It goes into this bluesy Grateful Dead. And I even hear some Jefferson Airplane, man. It's fucking killer. And Lonely. This song has an Amboy Dukes vibe, man. Meets the Dead, and I don't know, Buffalo Springfield. Fucking killer, dude. Killer guitar harmonies, guitar solos. The drums are fucking killer. All over this, man. I love David Four. Prog psychedelic rock, Country Joe and the Fish. High energy, man. Marching snare drum ending, baby. I love marching snare drums. You know I love that, man. Gathering of Promises, a title track. The killer intro, man, is awesome. You know, there's a lot of Grateful Dead, like Mellow, and the Sunshine Company, and the Jefferson Airplane, and the Youngbloods. I love the mellow shit off this, man. Of course, you know I love the heavy, explosive psychedelia. But, you know Shark loves some Bubble Puppy, man. Hurry Sundown, killer. Side 2, man. Just as good as side 1. High energy rocker, very 68, very 60s vibe here. You know, sunshiny, baby, but it goes heavy. And Elizabeth, very Country Joe and the Fish, man. Fucking killer 60s harmonies, melodies, atmospheres, swirling guitar. Grateful Dead meets the Airplane, but even better, more melodic. A lot of these songs are a little behind the times, you guys. It doesn't sound like 1969 or 70. I get a real 1967 vibe, and I think I like it. These guys are holding on to the 60s and keeping it alive, man. But Elizabeth is maybe my favorite fucking song on this album, you guys. And it's safe to say the mellow tune gets a little bluesy. You get a Dead vibe. Nice harmonies, man. And Road to St. Stephen's, man, more of that Buffalo Springfield like Stephen Stills. Fucking bust into killer shit though, man. Fucking killer. Love it, dude. I love the little prog bits they do in this, man. There's bits of psychedelia mixed with prog and shit. And beginning, very Amboy Dukesy, man. But, you know, it's got that 60s vibe. These guys are not ahead of their time. No way. They are in the 60s. They are in the late 60s. They are loving and enjoying that 1967, 68, 69 vibe. But certainly Hot Smoke and Sassafras, one of the greatest rock and roll songs ever recorded with one of rock's greatest drummers, David Four. And all these guys, Prince and Potter and all of them geniuses. I wish this band would have gone on forever, but sadly, Bubble Puppy would break up, you guys, too early. They're gone too soon, man. Rest in peace, Bubble Puppy. But over the years, these guys would become so many people's favorite band. I mean, we like these guys the same way we love The Who, Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath, The Dead. All of them, man. The Eagles, Steve Miller Band, whatever, dude. Genesis, Captain Beyond. To us, in some weird way, Bubble Puppy, you know, Rod Prince, man, what a genius. But all of them, all four of them. God bless the drummer, David Four. High energy, kick ass. Almost like punk rock. Very abrasive band, very explosive, high energy, and then they go back to being mellow in 60s, like back into a Jefferson Airplane, Sunshine Company garage, back into a Buffalo Springfield garage, but then they bust out and get real heavy, almost like Captain Beyond. But before Captain Beyond, man, what Bubble Puppy could have done if they would have stayed together. Certainly if Prince and Four had stayed together, man. Great band here, you guys. Bubble Puppy, one of Clark the Shark's favorite bands, right here on the Clark the Shark Show from the golden EIB Sharkerphone. Right here, baby. That's right, the Wolfman Jack on crack. Clark the Shark, the most amazing shark. The most amazing reviewer on YouTube, but the most amazing reviewer all over the world and all over the universe because I grew up in 1988, 1984, 1978 when I was 13, 1976 when I was 11, playing albums out of curiosity on old record players in Torrance and Redondo Beach. I would literally take an old record player and mess around with it. I'd take it apart and it would shock me. I'll never forget the feeling of being shocked when I'm just taking apart record players and I'm taking apart the little needle that meets the vinyl, and I'm trying to figure out, how does the needle hook up to the wires, and how do all these wires and all these things inside the, radios and record players and tape recorders, way back in the day, man, taking apart just heads of radios and getting shocked downstairs at 251 Paseo de Gracia, Redondo Beach in Torrance, Clark the Shark. I got shocked so many times, you guys, taking apart record players, taking apart radios to see how they work, to see what the fuck they were. And man, I'm not like a guy that could go work at Northrop or Hughes Aircraft. That ain't Shark. I don't know how things work. I would just take apart the thing to see what's inside, and I'd get shocked. And I got shocked, baby, by Bubble Puppy, a gathering of promises. 1969. But to me, this album is really 1967 or 68. On the Clark the Shark Show, baby, from the golden EIB Sharkerphone. I love this album. Talk to Rick Carmody, the bassist of Greenhouse Effect. Ask him how he feels about Hot Smoke and Sassafras. And he's going to go, oh yeah, baby, Clark the Shark is right. Just like Journey to the Center of Your Mind by the Amboy Dukes. Hot Smoke and Sassafras, just like I Can See for Miles, or Pinball Wizard by The Who, or just any great Beatles song, like, Lucy in the Sky, or Strawberry Fields Forever. Hot Smoke and Sassafras by David Four and Rod Prince, and the fabulous Bubble Puppy, 1969. Amazing underground garage, psychedelia, a little too late, a little dated, a little behind the times, but still grooving back in 1969. I still would have loved this album, man. Things were starting to change in 69. Things were getting heavy. And of course, in 1970, things got heavy and they got commercial. I mean, a lot of bands just started going big time, great songs. And unfortunately, Bubble Puppy, they didn't really have a follow-up for Hot Smoke and Sassafras. And I don't think these guys really like each other today. Kind of like my band, the Greenhouse Effect. I don't think, if these guys are still alive even, I don't think they talk. They're bitter about some record contract, back, I don't know, ABC Dunhill or one of those companies back in the 60s, early 70s that screwed the band, or, one guy got all the money. It's kind of like CCR, the way they all hate, Fogerty. But anyway, all this hatred, man, let's get rid of it. Let's love each other in the spirit of the 60s and the young bloods. Come on, people, now. Smile on your brother. Everybody get together. Try to love one each other. Or something like that on the Clark the Shark Show, baby. I'm Clark the Shark. And you just got the word, the gospel, on one of the greatest albums ever recorded and one of the greatest songs of all time. Bubble Puppy. Hot Smoke and Sassafras from a gathering of promises. Look deep into the eyes of these four guys. Take a journey to the center of this album, baby. You might never come back. You certainly won't be the same. I'm out of here, people. Love you all. From the Sharky. VR.